I have a 3.97 cumulative GPA at the University of Waterloo. I have a 95% in psychology, a 96% in physiology, a 97% in chemistry, and of course a 99% in cell biology. And people ask me all the time, how the heck do I study? But honestly, I do not really know how to put it into words. So instead, I'm making this video to try to explain how I study, how my study methods evolved over time, what I personally use to study, how memory actually works, and what study methods you might be using right now that might be silently killing your grades. And I'll do all of this in under 5 minutes. Hi, my name's Jaden. I'm currently a pre-medical student at the University of Waterloo, and here's my study guide. Now, before we get into studying, we need to talk about this. This is the pyramid of learning. Basically, how much information you retain via the various study methods listed here. As you can see at the top of the pyramid, going to lectures, you only retain about 5% of the information. Rereading your notes, about 10%. And honestly, these are basically useless. For only retaining 5 or even 10% information is not enough if your course is memory-based like biology is. Instead, we need to go closer and closer to the bottom of the pyramid. You can see teaching others and even just active recall is 75 to 90% of the information retained. Unfortunately, not everyone is going to have a friend nearby them at all times. Basically, you can't always teach someone. So instead, the second best method, active recall, I would personally teach you how to use it. And this is something I personally use to retain information and to get these high grades. And instead of just explaining it to you, why not actually show you how it's done? So I'm going to take an image of this, but as you can see here, this is one of my flashcards I use to study anatomy, or CHEM 100, which is my anatomy course. Now, as you can see, the question is, what are the attachments, the actions, and the innervations of a muscle that we call obturator externus? This is a muscle in our hip bone, by the way, if you're wondering. Now, without looking at anything, I'm going to try to answer this to the best of my ability. Okay, well, the origin or the proximal attachment is the external obturator membrane. The distal attachment or the insertion where it inserts or ends is going to be the trochanteric fossa, which is a little notch in your femur. The innervation is the obturator nerve because on the medial side of your thigh or even your hip, that's where all your adductors of the hip are going to be innervated by. And finally, the actions are going to be external rotation of the hip because the muscle actually goes from anterior, wraps around the back of the femur, and attaches to the trochanteric fossa. And I can see right here, this is the end results right here. If I'm able to explain everything super detailed, well, I'll just review it in 1 day or 2 days, depending on how much I know the information, right? And so basically by doing this, I'm able to recall information. If I'm unable to know anything, then I'm able to repeat until I fully get it and it's locked in to the point where I can answer that question in 2 seconds, right? Because in tests, especially when there's 120 questions in 120 minutes and you only have a minute per question, you gotta go pretty damn fast. This also aids in long-term consolidation. Short-term memory, which is stuff that you pay attention to, has limited capacity, only lasts around 30 to 60 seconds. This is stuff that you get after rereading your notes. Now, to consolidate your information to long-term memory, this is very important because long-term memory is infinite in both duration, so information in long-term memory lasts forever, and also capacity. Imagine a storage drive with infinite amounts of gigabytes, infinite amounts of terabytes. That's your brain, that's your long-term memory. But in order to actually consolidate it, you need to actively recall. You need to actually understand the material. You actually need to explain it really well. And you need to do this without any external help over and over and over again, consistently. Now the theory is great, but how do you actually implement it into your own life? Now, here's what I would do. Firstly, go to lectures. Now this may seem basic, but a lot of my classmates don't go, and so they fail. Because there might be images or slideshows like this. There's just one image, so what? But this is the information that they require you to memorize from the image. Yes, and in fact, these were actually exam questions. So as stupid as it sounds, please go to class because your slideshow won't explain everything. The professor will yap and yap and yap, but those yap points are testable material. And a lot of professors do not record their lectures. So please just go to class. And try not to create summary notes in the moment. Unless you can write at the speed of light, professors will not wait for you. And so it's just better to type your notes or to download your notes on an iPad or note-taking app and to annotate them. But what I really like to do is I will have my flash making app on one side of my screen my notes on the other side of the screen, and I'll type in flashcards in a moment. This not only saves me a bunch of time because I don't want to make flashcards after class because it takes a long time, but I'll have the review study and review material ready, so if I do want to do a little review after class, yeah, it's ready to go, and so I can just review instead of wasting my time making flashcards.